There's a hidden rhythm in history, a formula that has wiped out the greatest powers the world has ever seen. Empires that seemed untouchable, unstoppable, invincible have all collapsed in the exact same way. Three global superpowers have fallen in the last 500 years: Spain, Britain, the Soviet Union. Each one thought it was different, each one believed its strength would last forever, and each one was wrong. Now, in 2025, the United States is walking the same path. Stage by stage, decision by decision, we have already reached stage 5. This isn't a warning for the distant future. This isn't theory. This is happening right now. If you think a superpower like America can't fail, think again, because history doesn't negotiate. It doesn't bend for technology, for innovation, or for pride. It follows patterns, and the pattern is clear. When an empire completes the first 5 stages, the end comes fast and it comes brutal. In the next few minutes, you're going to see the blueprint of collapse. You'll see how Spain, Britain, and the Soviet Union crumbled, and why every sign we see today tells us the United States is on the exact same trajectory. The clock is ticking, and the math doesn't lie. Empires don't just fall by accident. They don't crumble because of bad luck or a single mistake. Every time a superpower dies, it follows the same sequence, a step-by-step pattern that repeats like clockwork. There are 7 stages, 7 steps that have destroyed the most powerful nations in history. First, military overextension, fighting too many wars, defending too many borders, stretching the army and resources too thin. Second, currency debasement. The value of money drops, inflation rises, and what once bought strength now buys weakness. Third, the debt spiral. Borrowing more than you can ever repay, paying interest on past debts, sinking deeper into financial quicksand. Fourth, loss of productive capacity. The empire stops making what it needs, relies on imports, and slowly loses the ability to sustain itself. Fifth, social decay. Trust erodes, crime rises, people leave, and society begins to crumble from within. Sixth, loss of reserve currency status. Allies start looking elsewhere, trade shifts to other nations, and the empire's money loses its global influence. And seventh, collapse, the final stage. Fast, brutal, complete. One day you're a superpower, and the next, a cautionary tale. This isn't theory, it's history. Spain fell in the 1600s, Britain in the 1900s, and the Soviet Union in 1991. All of them, step by step, followed this same sequence. And right now, the United States is somewhere in the middle of it. This is the blueprint of collapse. And once you understand it, you start to see the signs everywhere. Spain was once the richest empire the world had ever seen. Gold and silver poured in from the Americas, making it untouchable, or so it seemed. But the collapse followed the same pattern. First, military overextension. Wars on 4 continents drained the treasury. Then currency debasement. Silver coins were watered down with copper, and money lost its value. Next came the debt spiral. Spain declared bankruptcy 4 times in just 40 years. Production fell. The economy became dependent on imports, and innovation dried up. Social decay followed. Crime soared, the best minds fled, and the nobility grew idle. In less than a century, Spain went from global superpower to a shadow of its former self, a cautionary tale of how riches alone cannot save an empire. Britain once ruled the largest empire in history. The sun never set on its colonies, and the pound sterling was the world's reserve currency. But the collapse followed the same pattern. First, military overextension. Wars across India, Africa, the Middle East, and beyond drained resources. Currency debasement came next. Gold reserves fell, inflation soared, and the pound weakened. Debt spiraled out of control with World Wars I and II, leaving Britain owing more than it could ever repay. The empire began to crumble. India gained independence in 1947, and by 1970, most colonies were gone. The pound fell, global influence faded, and Britain became a shadow of its former glory, surviving only on its history and prestige. The Soviet Union emerged after World War II as a nuclear superpower, controlling satellites across Eastern Europe and challenging America on every front. But the same pattern of collapse unfolded. First, military overextension, the arms race and global influence drained the economy. Then came the loss of empire. Eastern Europe broke away. The Berlin Wall fell. And finally, complete collapse. In just 900 days, the Soviet Union vanished, a superpower reduced to history. The United States is now following the same pattern, and we're already at stage 5. Military overextension, over 750 bases, troops in 150 countries, stretched to the breaking point. Currency debasement. The dollar is pure fiat, and the money supply has increased 400% since 2000. Debt has spiraled to $36 trillion, with interest approaching $1 trillion a year. Our productive capacity is gone, manufacturing outsourced, imports flooding in, and critical industries dependent on other nations. Social decay is clear, trust is low, crime is rising, political dysfunction is rampant, and fertility is collapsing. Even stage 6 is starting to show. Our reserve currency status is challenged as BRICS nations trade in yuan and gold. The pattern is unmistakable, and the signs are all around us. Stage 6 and 7 are coming. The loss of reserve currency status will trigger sudden collapse. History shows how fast it can happen. The Soviet Union fell in just 900 days. Britain lost its empire in 20 years. Spain took decades, but the outcome was the same. History doesn't forgive exceptions. No technology, no pride, no wealth can stop the pattern. The question is simple and terrifying. Can the United States avoid the fate of Spain, Britain, and the Soviet Union? The pattern is mathematical. The math doesn't lie. Are we ready for what comes next? If this opened your eyes to the pattern of collapse, subscribe to stay informed. Comment your thoughts. Are we heading toward stage 6 faster than you realized? In future videos, we'll explore whether the United States can change course, what history can teach us, and what might happen if the pattern continues. Don't miss it. Understanding the past is the only way to prepare for what's next.